Alright guys, welcome to No Young No Auld with your hostess with mostest, Jonny, and my co-host Craig today.
How's it going?
And today we have a very special guest, Tom.
Hello.
Welcome, Tom.
Mr.
Hello.
Tom Elliott.
Aye.
Excuse me.
So, Tom, tell us a little bit about yourself.
About me. What do you want to know? There's so much.
There's so much. Well,
so
let's
much.
start off.
What you up to now?
What you doing now then?
Try to find myself. I think.
Aye.
I think from probably 3 years ago after lockdown, I ended up deciding to get back into education. I took up a place in West College doing photography.
Aye.
And I've enjoyed it. I mean, so I get quite passionate about something a day at a time. So
Yeah.
at that point, I've now been doing it for 3 years. I'm just about to graduate.
Oofed. Okay.
Which was it wasn't really my first choice to do it because
Aye.
during lockdown, you watch obviously. We're going to get political here. Everybody became these sort of
Oh,
conspiracy theories
Aye,
and
yeah.
everything else. You know what I mean? And because the lockdown, I was classed as still working because I was putting staff through the furlough thing. So I never got anything. So I was like
Aye.
fighting to get the funds, getting whatever, and ended up they told me to go on universal credit,
oh, aye.
which 1 week I get 27 quid because apparently you're supposed to declare everything you earn. So I was still doing things online and things like that.
yeah.
So I was declaring all the money, but they were taking like 67 pence or something every pound half year. I was like, this is fucking shite. I mean, I'm still getting nothing at the end of the week. So I decided to phone up the University of West of Scotland. I mean, I left school at 15, thick as shit, totally thick, no academic qualifications whatsoever. So I ended up, I phoned up the University, the West of Scotland in Paisley. I says, I want to do criminal justice and social injustice. I want a degree in it. And they were like, eh? I says, I left school at 15. I says, I had no qualifications whatsoever. I says, but I've got life skills.
Aye.
I says,
More
and
important, I think.
why do you want to do it? I says, well, do you know what? I says, I've got to the stage, I'm pissed off that I'm paying Boris Johnson's second fucking home. I says, I'm also heating it and I can't afford to pay my electricity.
Aye.
And they started laughing. And at that point, he gave me a conditional offer
That's
on
good.
the email. Do you know what I mean? And he goes like, says, what you have to do is, he says, because of the young ones coming up and getting into the sort of education, they've stayed on at school, went to college for 3 years, done social sciences, done whatever to get into university. He says, go and get yourself an HNC in social sciences over the next year, and then we'll take you in. He says the door will be open for you, and I was like, cool. So I popped up into the West of College, Scotland. I goes like, I says, I need to do a social science and HNC. I says, can I come in? And they're like, no. I was like, how? And they're like, he says, well, you're 2 days too late for the applications. He says, there's about a 2 year waiting list to go on that course. And I was just walking back out and I just seen this sign about photography. I was like, fuck it, I've got a camera, I'll just do photography. So I did. But there's reasons why I made these decisions and choices. I mean, but I think getting back to why I've been through that thing. I mean, I've just recently found out I've got ADHD.
Aye.
52 years of age, and then obviously, and I used to say to everybody, by the way, I've got ADHD. Like, I could fucking tell you that years ago.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like, why did you not tell me?
Aye.
I should I could get that DL age, you know what I mean? I knew
Aye,
fucking
you
more.
got that
that's
money,
it.
aye. Can we
So
check
it was there, so I was raging. But I'm now at that point where I feel I've done this for the last 3 years, but I'm still kind of lost. I don't know where I am. Do you know what I mean? And I still, because of the ADHD and then obviously things that's happened this year as well with my health, I'm overwhelmed in everything. Do you know what I mean? I can't make sense of nothing,
Aye.
but I'm trying to. And I get mad moments. I mean, like the other week, I was awakened for like a whole 3 days. Just couldn't sleep. Just insomnia was just there.
Brain was going.
And it was like stupid things at 2 o'clock in the morning. Going, I need to get something in that cupboard. So I'm in the cupboard in the living room. I'm pulling all this shit out. It's everywhere. Before you know it, it's all just piled everywhere. And then before I've left there, went into the room and started looking for trainers that I probably had like 10 years ago. And I pulled out everything from the wardrobe. That's just all lying there, the flaring on. And then I get into the other room and I start pulling everything out of the cupboards. And before you know it, the place is just a fucking riot. And it's took me like a week to fucking clear it all back up again.
Aye.
So I think my life is just like, I don't understand anything just now. I'm in therapy for it. Do you know what I mean? So,
Because I definitely think, see, Graham, who had on Ashton, I think you two have got similar energy levels. I think he's a kind of like a couple of cold springs, just fucking.
yeah, I think because well, actually, he's obviously he's quite creative. Obviously, he's quite spiritual as well. He's really spiritual. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of people within that sort of mindset have got a lot going on. Do you know what I mean?
Because
They're
I do,
creative.
like I've said this loads of times. I believe in like the positive, like energies. I believe energies. It's like when you see somebody walking through a room, you pick that energy straight away. You don't need to say nothing. You go, bad energy, good. You can feel it. So I've always been dead drawn to people, just even people with bad energies, to see what they're up to. And like since I met you, that's what I was going to go into. Like I met you for the first time, I think, at Brian and Karen's wedding, I think it was. Or was it? No, it was yours?
My wedding.
Your wedding, I can't fuck it.
I've
Yeah,
been married that long.
you were longer than him.
Aye,
way
so-
longer.
And I've said that since the first time I've met you. I'm like, he's just fucking, don't know, I'm just dead drawn to you. Like, there's something
It's
about
been like
you.
that. It's been like that forever.
I feel
Do you
like I
mean,
need to be
it's
running
crazy.
about you. It's weird.
It's
I don't
not-
know if you've groomed me or something, but I just feel...
Yeah, who's a daddy?
Who's a daddy?
I think, see, it's always been like that.
Aye.
I've always had that sort of, it's like
Aura.
a magnet type thing, but it's the aura, it's your energy, it's what you're
Aye.
admitting. And you always find it, if you walk into a pub, do you mean you can walk into a pub and the place is pure bounce, it's amazing, you're like, oh, that's great, it's going to kick off in here. Within 20 minutes it does it because your energy has broken into something you know it's there, and that's when you start to
Big
feel it.
time, aye, you
I
do
found, I
feel
found that quite a lot when I had the pubs as well, because obviously,
I still start...
taking back to where I was and how I came in here,
Aye.
I was born in Figgy Park
Oof.
in Paisley.
In a house?
Was that?
In a house? Like, were you born, like...
No, in a hospital.
In a hospital? I know,
But
just...
he's just mean he was raised in
Ja-
Fee.
no,
I wasn't
just
that. I wasn't that.
wasn't
fucking-
that
you're
bad.
like,
John the War?
He's not that old.
No, I'm not that old.
Through the raids, can you get to the
I'm in the
hospital?
70s. I'm the 70s. I'm during that time. What do
Aye.
you call it? Gary Glitter. And,
Oh, for
who'd you
fuck's
call it?
sake.
by that
Fuck's
man?
sake, yeah, Jimmy
Jimmy
Savile.
Savile.
Aye,
I'm
come
that
on.
era.
You must have knew.
No, I was born there, and I think we moved to Figgy Park when I was 7. I think my mum and dad, my dad was like a total alcoholic. I always never remember him working in. He's quite an abusive man. I hated him. He hated me. And my mum, obviously something happened, and obviously they split. We went to various sort of homeless units until we got housed in South Nits Hill,
Right,
which
aye.
was fucking 10 times worse than what
Was it? Aye,
Figgy
aye.
Park was. And you always find it because our house is. Have you ever watched the first episode of like Still Game?
Aye.
You see them up the top of the grassy hill in Whitehall Crescent, and that's
Aye.
where our house is.
Was
You
it?
see,
Aye.
oh, that's where I used to stay. It's all boarded up. It's like fucking Beirut.
Aye.
But ended up we moved up there, and from that point, I always found myself as a kid as being. I was always quite a creative person.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a wee bit of a loner. No many people around about me. And so you get to the age of 12, 13, but I was always a wee bit of an entrepreneur. I always knew how to make money.
Sound fat.
Regardless, listen, I was worse. Ended up my mum and dad. Well, obviously, my dad started coming back up again. My mum and dad were back together, but still a toxic sort of
Aye.
existence. And they used to go to bed, but I'd sneak out. My room window was on to where the close room window was, the close window was.
Yeah.
And I used to sneak out at night and go down the grassy hill into Darnley Industrial Estates and work in a baker's at the age of 12, 13. I was only like first year or something. And all I
Sneak
did,
out to work?
I sneak out of work and then
Okay. Oh,
get
yeah,
back
nowadays.
up the road by at 6:30 in the morning. Get back to my bed. My mum and dad get me up for breakfast. My dad would get my mum would get me up for school. But all I did was go down there and put pies on the Scotch pie lids on the Scotch pies.
Aye, aye.
Dip it in water, stick it there. That was my night all night.
Jesus,
Just there,
aye.
and you could probably get a couple of quid each week. Do you know what I mean? So
Aye.
with that money, I used to go to school and I'd buy like 20 fags, and 20 fags back then was like 69 pence.
Oh, Jesus.
So it's fucking 69 quid now.
Aye.
But I ended up, I used to sell them for 10 pence a single.
Aye.
But I was the only one that ever sold singles in secondary school, so I had like queues of people.
Aye.
So I'd get through probably about 3-4 packets a day, easy. And then with the profit on it, at night time, obviously come the weekend, we're buying cheap vodka and cheap fucking cider and cheap booze. Do you know what I mean? We were ghetto blasters dancing away to fucking Tiffany's. I think we're alone now, not it. And I don't know why they never knew I was gay at that point. Do you know what I mean? So we're going to get there and all. I didn't know. So I ended up through school was there, but I was never ever interested in school. I couldn't take anything in. I didn't have the attention span to take it in, and I think that should have been ADHD. No, it wasn't there. Do you know what I mean? It ended up, you didn't concentrate, you didn't focus. You got to do it.
Wasn't
Do you
it a
know what
thing?
I mean?
Aye,
You get
see
a
what-
fucking
aye.
slap and a belt. Do you know what I mean? So
Same with dyslexia, I mean, I know a lot of older people saying, I had definitely had that through school, but I just get a fucking belt because I couldn't do my ABCs.
Well, I didn't get a belt, but it was the college lecture. I went to the West College, Scotland, and it was the head of the accounting department and went, I think you might
There's
be
an story there.
she went, I think you might be dyslexic. You can't read your own writing at times. I said that in primary school and they told me I was stupid.
It's thick as fuck. Where you go, Johnny?
Aye.
that's obviously getting their story because the head of accountancy. I start the accountancy course come after summer. I decided I want to become an accountant so I can know how to bump the system.
That's it.
But so I did. I know her as well. I read for her ages ago, and I didn't recognise her. She goes like that because I went to see her before a couple of months ago. I was like, what there's a accountancy thing? She goes like that. She said, I know you. And I was like, I don't really know you. She said, no, you read for me. And I was like, oh, did I?
You're terrible at
That's
fucking
another
remembering
story.
people.
Yeah. The first time I met you, Ben, I didn't
aye,
even remember
anyway.
marrying you.
But you get it, just see we'll obviously get into the whole spiritual thing soon. But even giving readings now, and you get people, you could be walking down a girl street or something like whatever, and somebody go, I remember you turned around and told me I was going to be pregnant with twins. And I was like, I don't even fucking know who you are. It's like crazy. Do you know what I mean? When you have to like, hi, or I
You've got
remember.
to,
I've had them. And I was like, oh, that's really good. It must have been good. You get money's worth. So, ended up, so at 15, I decided to leave school, and I went to work in a place called Root Glen Garden Centre. And just before I was 16, I was the trainee assistant manager of houseplants. That was the title they gave me. Because they were taking the piss.
I know, it's quite a big
honestly,
one.
the fact they were taking the piss, because all I'd done was every Monday I would take a whole load of bonsai trees and stick them in a bucket of water and wait for the fucking bubbles to disappear, and that was in watered. And then I'd move on and go to the ficus benjaminers and all that shit. I mean, it was like crazy. I had to learn all these Latin names for fucking plants. But then my sister phoned me. She worked in a machinery factory. And she phoned me. She goes, they're looking for somebody to work in the cutting room, a ITS. And I was like, in a ITS you get like 26 quid a week or something. And I went down and I got the job. But I'm one of these ones, I don't want to just do what I'm doing here. I want to do what everybody else is doing. And I want to learn what everybody else is doing as well. So within weeks of being in that cutting room, getting to know the guys and the bosses and all that, do you know what I mean? And end up, I want to learn about the pattern cuttings, I want to learn about the design, I want to learn how to use the machines, I want to get the pressing, I want to do the whole lot, and I did. And within like a couple of months, I was stealing the fabric out the machinery factory. I can't get done. It's a business. It's a business because I fucking stole the fabric.
I was going to say,
Ended up, I used to steal the fabric, and then I'd go home at night, and I'd sit up all night cutting up clays and then machine them all. And all the veins, they'll sit like Kennis Head, Donald Bank, Darling, all used to wear my designs.
Just the one pattern.
It was just one pattern. I had one pattern, but just adding to it. But what I'd do is I'd finish at work. I was in there for 8 in the morning till like 4 or 5 at night. And I'd get home and take speed. And stay up all night. And then managed to get in there doing a shift. And this went on for fucking ages, probably about
you just wonder your body.
2 years or so. And I think by that point, I've supposedly only supposed to earn like £26 a week. I was earning like 300 quid a week. Do you know what I mean? Because I was selling all these wee short sets and all that to everybody around about who's on the social for like 2 quid and 3 quid and all that. It wasn't costing me nothing for the fabric because I was blagging it. So ended up, from that point, I went into a pub called the Nauru, which is, I'm doing a show in the Nauru. This month, just later, so you buy tickets, £10 each.
I buy tickets.
So I went into the Nauru, and there was one of my neighbours, and he used to DJ in it, and he was teaching me how to DJ. And it was all fucking Glory Gaynor and all that shit. It was like music, it was bad, do you know what I mean? But everybody lived in that pub. But I was fascinated with somebody pouring a pint behind the bar, and I was like, how can you do that? I want to do that. I'm fucking there. I was like, do you know what I mean? And then there was this lassie called Lorraine, and she ran 39 Steps for Carnegie's Leisure Group. And I was like, I said, I'd love to do it. She goes, I manage a pub. She says, why don't you come work for me? But at that time, I wasn't 18. I think it was like 3 weeks away before I was 18 or something. And I packed in doing that, earning 300 quid a week. To go on to earn 49. Going to earn £49 a week. It was like £1 an hour or something back then. Do you know what I mean? So I was earning £49 a week. And I was like, I obviously couldn't say behind the bar because I wasn't 18 at the point. So I turned 18 and I became a barman. And then it was only 7 or 8 months into it. She got moved out and moved into a place called Caskie's, Casper's or Caskie's. And I became a general manager of that pub before I was 19. And it was one of the busiest pubs in Glasgow, Jim. It was like nuts. And obviously they seen something in me because I was like totally now right into this. I knew I could create things. I could create entertainment packages, do ever bring it on and promote things. And there was such something there. I had a buzz for it.
Seen that bit of commitment for you.
So I ended up, Carnegie's were going down a wee bit. So I think they sold off quite a lot of their units to Scottish Newcastle at the point. And I was given the option, do you want to stay in 39 Steps and go with Scottish Newcastle, or do you want to stay with Carnegie's and we'll move you up with Fookies? And I was like, no, I'll just stay with Scottish Newcastle because I know I was going to get better. There was going to be more to that. But the night before the takeover, in the Monday morning, they turned to us and says, no, you're not going with Scottish Newcastle. I report for your duties for Fookies next morning. And I signed up, went into Fookies, and I was an assistant manager in Fookies. And at that point, the general manager, who was Anne Filoni, I think at the time, they sort of clashed, do you know what I mean? So I ended up having to go as a relief manager. So I was covering Bonkers in Ayr and then Bonkers in Glasgow and then getting into Carnegie's and Paisley. So I was covering all the main staff until I get put into a place in, I can't remember what it was, but I hated it. But they never gave me any chefs, they never gave me any staff. They were just trying to fucking make me feel really bad because I clashed with her. And it worked, but I walked away from it. And I went to work in a place called Brown's Health and Leisure Complex in Copelaw Street. It's not there now, it's obviously there. There's big stories in this one. I was the bar manager in there, and I also had a nightclub. So I managed Nightclub as well. And the Nightclub wasn't doing that great because obviously you had the Plaza in the corner. And the Plaza was doing like the all-night raves and was doing whatever, which I was part of that. And I used to go
Is
there
this
as
through
well.
the what?
This is the early 90s.
Early 90s,
It's
fuck
a
aye,
rave
aye.
scene basically.
Ah,
it's
the
called
rave
now.
scene, I was there.
Bouncing a
I was
bit,
there.
aye.
But that's well, Carnegie's had the Plaza.
I was
So I used to get sent down there to manage the bars at the Love Raves. And I was like, this is fucking buzzing. But I never really knew anything about drugs. And I knew about them, but I didn't really take them. I tried speed and all that.
I think
So.
you're a bit mental enough.
But I ended up, before obviously I was with Carnegie's and we get free tickets to go to it. Well, obviously we weren't working, we get free tickets to go. And I went, but I remember getting in, somebody gave me something, and I went in with these John Richmond sort of designer, like dungarees on and John Richmond tap and all that. And the trainers looking fucking really trendy, really, really cool, just amazing. Totally out my tits. It was so bad that when I left there in the morning, I got on the bus with a pair of flip-flops, cut off denim shorts, and no tap. I get home, I go, and my mum, we stayed in Kensington at the time at this point now. So I get home and I get off the bus, it was a 45 bus or something, a 57 or whatever it was. Totally chewing my face, like fucking running, I got a packet of fags. I was at 18, 19. And I went into my mum's and I was like, oh, I'm really hungry. She says, go and see what you want. And I went in, she was in her bed, I mean, it was like 8 in the morning or something. And I went back through and I was lying at the bed with her and she's like, what do you want to eat? I was like, I don't want to eat. I couldn't eat anything. You mad? I don't want to eat. I said, and then I kept saying, I was like, there's veins in my horn and all that. I was like, if my horn was pregnant. I was like, this is fucking up. She's like, she didn't have a clue what was going on. Sitting there totally oblivious to it. And she's like, I think you need to go to sleep. I was there. But then I was just raging the fact that I gave all these designer clothes away. I must have swapped after some lassies cut off denim shorts or something, do you know what I mean, the vest or whatever. It was crazy, absolutely crazy. But obviously leaving Carnegie's and then I went to work in Browns. I was one of the most cockiest, cheekiest wee shits ever. But I had balls and I had gumption to do what I wanted to do, do you know what I mean? So I ended up becoming, believe it or not, an agent for the Sunday Sport girls and the Dream Boys.
Fuck's sake, aye.
Back in the 90s
Like
for up here. It was nuts. And that's how I had to use. So I had to sell them back my house. I used to stay back my house, not at the strippers, the page 3 girls, not it. So we ended up, I brought them up to.
It's a waste, isn't it?
At that time, it was I brought them up to Browns. I brought them up to Browns Health and Leisure Complex in the club, and I remember the night. I knew it was all about money, Jim. I knew I could make a fortune out of this. I mean, I was obviously for the club, I was obviously for the club to make money, and I double sold the tickets, knowing they weren't going to be able to fit in the nightclub. So we put them in this big mad aerobic studio,
Right.
and we built up. There's like a stage thing, so we built the stage through it, and out of that, probably about 300 people could stand in there. I sold about 600 tickets. Fucking squeezed them in. Didn't realise that the fire warning guys were all there. They were all there for it. So everybody's trying to see these lassies. So they're still up these stairs. And it was like one of these suspended ceiling type things. And all of a sudden they were holding on to it and the full ceiling all came down the whole lot of them.
Oh, fuck.
This was all the Daily Record on it next morning. And it was like raunchy lesbian dance act brings down the roof in the fucking top class nightclub. Thomas Elliott, general manager, and I was like, what the fuck? So the next morning I'm in the newspapers and all that. Hi, would you like to comment? I was like, no comment. I was like 21 years of age, cocky, cheeky, do we take it on? And I was like, we need to do it again. We'll keep doing it, doing it.
Get it better.
And then I started bringing in these other things, and it was like, there was I can't remember the name, but the staff, it was probably I'm still pals with over these years, talk about it all the time. We had like an Indian group come in. There was obviously quite a lot of Indians, Pakistanis and things like that around that area. That was it's very, obviously a lot of, I think, different sort of cultures. And they come in and says, oh, can we use this place for a band? We've got a band coming. I was like, aye, no bother. And I charged them like 150 quid for the hall. And then it came to Sunday, the club shuts at 6 o'clock. And I'm standing, I walk out the front door, and there's just like mobs and mobs and mobs of all these Asian people. We're talking about millions of them. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? I was like, it says, we can't get them on here. That's not going to I thought it was just a wee band.
You've got a wee rock band.
No. This was India's answer to take that. It was coming there, do you know what I mean? I charged them 150 quid, and I was like, you're not opening it. It says 1,500 quid. That's what you're getting. But I had to pay the 1,500 quid. But it's nuts that so many people couldn't get in for it. But it was raging. And I think when I brought the Sunday Sport girls back up again, it was all again, it was just packed to it. That people were jumping about the members' cars and all outside. They were raging, absolutely raging.
Aye, fuck.
It was nuts. But I got quite pally with quite a lot of the girls. So I used to take them back to my house. Obviously, I'd have to put them up in a hotel, but I was like, no, I've got like 3 bedrooms. I'm come stay in mine. Do you know what I mean? But they were nice. I mean, it was a really nice guy.
Imagine so.
When I left the Browns, I went to manage a club down in Irvine. Oh, that's another one.
Fuck, aye.
That's another story. It was really. I managed a place called Toby's Accent there, and then from that, I managed another a club called Judy Chicago's in Irvine, but at the same time, it's the same company. So I'd manage the pub all day and then go and do the club all night. And it ended up, this club was it was the only club in Irvine at the time, do you know what I mean? So it was the only one that was there. It was the only one that was there, and it was packed to the gunnels. But you walked down the stairs and your feet were sticking to the stairs. You were getting down feet first, do you know what I mean? You get down the stairs and that. You went to the toilet and there was like a urinal. And then a toilet pan, somebody had kicked the wad in, do you know what I mean? So people were doing a shit while other people stood there pissing, do you know what I mean? It was great. And it ended up, there's stories in there. God, I need to watch what I'm saying. ADHD gives me no filter, so I end up telling everything's there. But no, I can't. I just can't watch myself. I've got a reputation to maintain.
True, actually. Couldn't so bit side with pitchforks and fucking...
Obviously, there's a story before Judy Chicago's, not when I was in Browns. But I Judy Chicago's, I ended up bringing the Sunday Sport girls not up there as well. But it was like, the story of that one, it goes to show I did have gumption, do you know what I mean? And taking you back to when I was in Browns, my pal Fiona had took me out to Glasgow one Sunday night, and she's like, oh, we need to go to this club called Club X. And she's like, it's a gay club. And it's like, fuck off, I'm not going to get a club. I'm not going to get a club. I'm not going to get a club. No way, fuck puss, not.
Full up.
I was like, I'm not going there. Because before that, I was a total tramp with females. I slept with fucking Shagger, big time. Do you know what I mean? It was like so bad, and it was like, I don't even. I wasn't even the fact that I fancied him. Do you know what I mean? I came out to Savoy one night. Even the Moon. If you couldn't get into Savoy, you went to the Moon. It was the worst one. And I'd be waking up the next morning. This lassie with fucking man, I meeting the short one. Got the short man, come back to change. Morning, how are you? And I'm like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean? I was like, couldn't remember anything. Do you know what I mean? My life was always like that. And ended up, obviously, she took me out, and it was such a buzz going into this gay club. Everybody just danced. Nobody really cared. It was nuts. It's different. It's different now. I think it's different now. It's just the generations and the kids now, they don't realise what we had to go through to get to that point. But it was like free. It was just very, very free. And I loved it. And we ended up, we were going out every single night for like these 2 weeks. And she was going on holiday. And I was like, I still need to go there. I'm not going to go myself. So I spoke to one of my sisters who I don't really speak to, I don't see. I says, do you want to go out tonight? She's like, I need bother. So I ended up, we went out and we went to Bennett's, which was another gay club. And I just wanted to get in there just for the atmosphere there. It was not even to sleep with anybody or go with guys. It was nothing. I didn't have that attraction to it. But she obviously was pissed and mad, went away talking to this guy. So I was down there. But at the end of the night, she brought this guy. She goes, oh, what's this? She's such and such. And I was like, hiya, how you doing? I was like, right, you ready to go? Because I was driving, I wasn't drinking. And I goes like that. I says, I'm driving without a license and insurance and all that.
Fantastic.
Fucking nuts. Anyway, but I ended up, I was like, I said, do you want to lift home? He's like, says, I stay out in the country. I was like, well, where's the country? Do you know what I mean? Erskine, I'd never been to Erskine, do you know what I mean? Obviously, I stayed in Glasgow. So, obviously, we went and dropped my sister off, and then I went to take him back home, and one thing led to another. And I was with him for 14 years.
One thing, I just went to Erskine one night and I liked it. I was there for 14 years.
14 years. It must have been the worst. There was a lot of good times in it, but I think it was crazy. It was a crazy time because although I'd tried like speeding on it, was like in my teens and whatever, I wasn't really into the sort of drug thing. Do you know what I mean? I met this guy on the 3rd October or whatever year it was. I was like weeks after being 22 or something. And I started having feelings and I fell for him. Do you know what I mean? I was like, this is something good. I know I need to watch what I say because obviously there's a lot of things that
see when you obviously you're saying obviously a bit of a shagger before, and then how were you getting you weren't confused at all about though? Was everything just natural? Like did it
no, I don't think it was natural because
surely your head must have been going, what's going on? Like,
listen, I'm going to say something here that could be sort of make sound the most crudest thing ever. I'm going to say it. It was quite bizarre the fact that first night and going to go and sleep with a guy, say to him, listen, I've never been with a guy before, it's never ever happened. And I think it was more of an excitement for him. I was like the wee virgin boy. Do you know what I mean? He was like 10 years older than me, and I remember he was like, "Do you want to have sex?" And I was like, "Listen, I've never had sex with a guy." I says, "Nothing goes up my arse and nothing goes in my mouth. Whatever's left, just fucking batter in." I had the best blowjob ever. Do you know, that's what it was. I was like, "Fuck it." Do you know what I mean? So I ended up.
Must have been good for 14 years.
14 years. Do you know what I mean? So we did, and I think obviously then he was in my life at this whole point, and we'd obviously had a relationship and everything there. And I've written it into a book. I wrote a book about my whole life and the whole thing. Do you know what I mean? I can't sort of publish it just now because my mum will probably sue me.
Just wait until she goes.
Wait she goes.
That's harsh as fuck. Just wait until she goes and then that's it. Money time.
That's
Time
it.
for listening to Jerry McKyle these days.
I know.
But it ended up,
away.
it ended up that with this guy for the 14 years, and it was toxic. It was just horrible because unless you know love,
Aye.
you don't know it is. And I think for me, love is one of the most horrible, negative emotions that anybody can have.
Aye, it can be
Because
used and
where
abused
love comes, you get the insecurities, the jealousy,
Yeah.
the untrusting,
Aye.
the questioning. Your mind plays games, tricks not with you, and I became that person. I didn't like it. Do you
Was
know?
that
So-
your first love then? Like, 'cause
That
I know
was
you
first.
said you slept with women, so that was your first love.
Yep. I thought I was in love with someone when I was in relationships with you. I mean, so I nearly get married today. I was like, I'm going to get engaged. I love this lassie. I don't want to say her name either, but she opened the first Japanese restaurant in Glasgow
right,
in the 90s called Moshi Moshi.
Mushy.
Aye, and she was like, she was stunning. She was lovely. But then obviously I had to finish with her because I met him.
That was a bit of an icebreaker. That I met him, so I can't see you in a
No,
minute.
and honestly, I'd love to tell you the thing about
Blowjobs are shite hen anyway.
Aye.
do you know, that was the whole story was the whole story how we told her finished my pal Fiona, because my pal Fiona knew what's going on with me, and obviously starting to get into this whole gay sort of lifestyle thing. And but I says to her, I was like, "Do you know what?" She got up one night and went to the room, and obviously the sun was coming in the sort of room. She got a silhouette of her, but she didn't have any chest.
Aye.
Do you know what I was like? She's just like a guy with a dick. Do you know what I mean? It's like nuts. But then my pal Fiona turns and goes, she goes, "Oh, you know Thomas is a boob guy. So we can get $3.5 grand boob job, thinking she was going to get me back.
Alright,
It's a sin. Anyway,
That's just getting there.
wasting money. I just gave me $3.5 grand. I told you no. But ended up, I met her years on because I was a manager in Oranmore, big church in Top Byres Road. And she came in. She was with Sarah Flaherty, who used to be the Scotch Sports presenter type thing. Because I knew her. I knew quite a lot of the famous people up there. And it ended up, she was like, "Oh, by the way, I've got something to tell you." And I was like, "What's that?" She says, "I was fucking about with a guy called behind your back." And I says, "Funny enough," I says, "I was fucking about with a guy called same name. Do you know what I mean?" I goes like that, and end up I showed the fact that I have got his name tattooed across the top of my arse. I don't even know why it's there. I don't see it much anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's definitely there. My tramp stamp. But she was totally gobbed the fact that it's so bizarre. Same name and all.
That would have been great to see her face just
It
for
was
that
fucking,
comeback.
it was nuts. It was nuts. I'm glad to see her comebacks are quite funny. I think even see before all this, and obviously again, I was gumption on it. I was quite shy. I wouldn't really get into or be outspoken or go and talk to anybody. I couldn't stand up in public and talk to anybody like that. But I was always there for the pubs and always knew how to get things going and bounce them, getting partying. And I think that sort of fell into it because obviously when I met this person, then I was introduced to drugs. Do you know what I mean? So we went to the Love Boutique in the Arches, and God, I was only like a month after meeting him. It was the 3rd of November. I remember it really well. 3rd of November. He's like, "Have you ever tried these tablets?" And I was like, "No, it's that." He says, "Ecstasy." I was like, "No, I've heard of them." So he's like, "Do you want to try them?" I was like, "Aye, okay." Do you know what I mean? They were 20 quid a whip.
That's when they used to be
20
good.
quid a whip. Do you know what I
apparently,
mean? By the time I stopped finishing, we were only £1.
Aye.
I'm not telling him I'll ask him half them. But ended up, I took the first tablet, and he was away chatting away, and I was like so comfortable with the fact I'm sitting talking to all these strangers. Do you know what I mean? It's like I was like, "Oh, hi, how are you?" And then before you know it, you're like telling somebody you love them after 2 minutes. Do you know what I mean? You're pure chewing your jaw like mad. And then before you know it, they're talking about their granny. And it's like, "Oh, I love your granny." And that's my own for hers. And I was like, I pure love that feeling. And I went starting looking for these guys that were selling these pills. So I ended up getting more. So I was like, I'm saying, obviously with the guy I was with, I was like, here, have another one. So we went home before you know it, we obviously get home at 3, 4 in the morning. And we sat up all night just talking the biggest load of shit. It was like crazy, do you remember? It was like, you think it's something that's deep and meaningful. And no, it was so bad. And it ended up, we went obviously to bed for a couple of hours, and then we were back up again about 9 o'clock, and we went back out and done the exact same thing in the tunnel on the Sunday night. So by that time we get home the Sunday night, we stayed up all night to the Monday morning. We went to bed, and then at 5:30 we got a phone call, and it was his pals at Belfast in Ireland.
Obviously, he's Irish.
He wasn't Irish, his
Oh,
pals.
right.
Friends.
No, there's stories there as well. He's like, says, "Get your fucking horses over here. We're going to a party." He's like, "We can't do that." It's like, "Are you good?" Do you know what I mean? I'd never been on an aeroplane in my life. Do you know what I mean? I was like 22. I hadn't been on a flight, and all I had was my provisional driver's license, but you didn't need a passport. I never had a passport. And I phoned my sister, and I was like, "I don't have any cash on me." I says, "Going to be fair, you never used cards back then. It was all cash." I says, "Going to meet me at Glasgow Airport and bring 300 quid. And she's like, "What for?" I says, "We've got to Belfast." She's like, "Okay." They didn't know about him at the time either. Do you know what I mean? They just thought he was my pal.
Right. It's like me and you, innit?
I know.
They just
We're
want to
waiting.
And
so
it's like, we ended up meeting him at the airport, and we get on a flight, and it was like, I think it was like 10 past 6 or 20 past 6 or something. We were only like less than an hour out the house, pack a wee case and go into this thing. And the flight was like one of these things that 3 people sitting in it. Fucking so other place. It was like the 3rd of November. That's been my first experience going on a flight. So by like 10 to 7, 10 to 8, 10 to 8, we're actually in Belfast.
It's
Like,
scary.
the fuck, it was nuts. But this was obviously the Monday. And we get back, so obviously they picked us up at the airport, we go to their house, and then we'll go out for dinner, and then we starts popping these pills again. And this is my first weekend of doing it. So we were there till the Wednesday. So from the 3rd of November to the Wednesday, do you know what I mean? 3rd was the Saturday. But the night we came out to the restaurant, and I was like starting to get pure para because I was doing this mad come down thing, whatever it was. Didn't know what the experience was. No, yeah, it was and you think back on Belfast, I mean, it's just for IRA, it's all bombing, they're all bombing.
Getting bombed.
I start screaming and runs into this fucking doorway, and I'm like, pure comes up, and they're like, what you doing? And it's like, diarrhea, and they're like, it's fucking bonfire nights, November the 5th. It's like, oh, right, okay.
That's a bit of an explanation.
So obviously the troubles had all finished by then anyway. But ended up, because it was like parties, we're just going to these parties after parties after parties, just went on for days. And between the Saturday I first take my first extra tablet. I mean, the extra were good when you had your snowdrops and your speckled dubs and all that, and you paid 20 quid or 25 quid a whip. From that point, the Saturday to the Wednesday, I'd done 24 pills. By the time we get home on the Wednesday night, I was like to him, I says, listen, I'm going back to main house, because obviously I stayed at my main place. I was like, I'll see you in a couple of days. I had to get the doctor out 3 times for the fact of where I was. You know what I mean? And I had to tell him that's what I'd done. I cannot do that. But my face ended up like pure mad scabs all over it, and I couldn't go to work for about 2 weeks. It was like crazy. I was actually run down. But it was the most amazing feeling of everything that happened that weekend. It was just phenomenal.
That, like, as I said, that long ago. I mean, it's something that you can pinpoint every
from that
day.
point. I mean, I don't forget anything. I say
do you think you're maybe just in a permo?
No, probably ADHD's probably got me mad.
Perhaps
I think see that point, I end up we were taking them like once a month or something, then I go to like once a week, and then go to twice a week. By this time, I'd bought my first pub, so I was 24, and I bought a pub. I bought a guy out a pub called the Sandford, the clinic,
Right,
which is now Lebowski's in Argyle Street.
Is that?
Do you know what Lebowski's is?
Yeah.
Well, that used to be called the Sandford. That was mine.
Right,
It was the Sandford. It was mine. And you had the 2 ways it used to film Rab Scenes back across the road. But it's now the Monkey Bar or something. I don't know what it's called. The Soul Sanctuary. I know it's Soul Sanctuary. Sorry, it's the Sandford. I went in there, and it was the most tackiest pub. It was like a pure spit and sawdust. It was like fucking terrible. It wasn't making any money. It wasn't doing nothing. By like 3-4 weeks into it, do you know what I mean? I had pensioners up in the bar doing my MCA and a Saturday night. Watching them don't fucking flap and break their neck down the hatch behind the bar and all that. Do you know what I mean? But it was like crazy, absolutely crazy. And I managed to go and get an 8 o'clock licence. I was open at 8 o'clock in the morning. So you had everybody that was out every single night coming at 8 o'clock in the morning. I made more money between 8 and 11 in the morning before the official time we opened up. For people just coming in totally out their face, out partying all night, and made a fortune.
What do you call that when you get a wee drink in the morning?
It's a tourist licence. It's part of tourist licence, goes in the tourist jail. So we were
That's
part of
what
the tourist jail
London,
there. So we were part of the tourist jail. So it was there. So I had people. I had more people. I made more money between 8 and 11. But you had to buy everybody who came in there for a drink had to buy a rolling sausage or rolling bacon or something. I only ever cooked one rolling bacon. I was like, I said, just leave it there. Gives 50 pence. I took 50 pence off everybody for the rolling bacon. Never got a rolling bacon. It was just one lying there in the thing, and I just kept all that money. So I used to make about 200-300 quid a week and rolling bacon 50 pence. That was my pocket money. That was mine. Do you know what I mean? It was there. And not one of them got a fucking robe at the pipe.
But you get your money.
I got my money. It was there. But it was crazy. It was absolutely. That was like 6-7 years of my life. I was in that. Do you know what I mean? But it was that point of ecstasy had become a part of it. And we were taking it every night. And I opened up gay nights and straight clubs in Glasgow. So I used to promote gay nights on a Monday, Tuesday night. So with like male strippers and with all that stuff. And the pubs were doing great. It was called Hype. And it was one of the biggest club nights back in the early 90s, which was mine. And I also had a 70s revival bar in the top of Oak Street as well, at the same time as well as the Sandford. And it was, I remember the time, we opened up the boogie bar, which was all done up in like fucking mad day-glow fur and all that. You know, it was like fucking big platform boots and you name it, it was all mad. And I didn't realise that because I hadn't watched the news that day. And we get a Gary Glitter impersonator.
Right.
We just get done that day in the news, do you know what I mean? And he was doing the opening night. Do you know what I mean? He was a DJ and all that. Do you know what I mean? Everybody said, was like, you've been fucking sick. I was like, have you not watched the news? And he didn't see the news. He didn't really watch newspapers. He didn't have phones back then either. Mobile phones was nothing. Do you know what I mean? We didn't have internet on phones or anything. But it was crazy. It was just a total thing. But even with having the Sandford ones, I remember it was New Year's Eve. And I had popped so much fucking eckies that night. Do you know what I mean? It was only eckies it would take. But see, from having the club nights now, so obviously eckies were early Monday night, Tuesday night, and it was the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It was always a night to take them. So we're taking them every single night, as well as going to work the next day and just functioning. And it was the New Year's Eve, and like everybody was shutting down. Do you know what I mean? Obviously the pub was open. I'd left it open for all the old customers. The customers were all these fucking next to the grave fucking pissy people. Do you know what I mean? It was like really bad. It was the worst. And I had decided to do it in my face, but obviously my partner was in at the time. He was we had an apartment just in Alexander Braid, a new building thing. He was obviously back home. So I was like, I was one of these man's dead, sort of hospitable. I ended up saying to all these old customers, fuck him, one back to mine.
Fucking lucky they never died on you.
I know.
Worst experience. I mean, took them all back. And obviously my partner, he's like, what the fuck are you doing? He's running about trying to plank the fucking credit cards and the checkbooks and everything else. Back then, so I mean, it was like nuts. And they all came in, do you know what I mean? And they weren't the best. They weren't the cleanest of whatever. Do you know what I mean? They were just really bad. But I gave them a nice wee time. Half of them would come in smelling the piss. Do you know what I mean? And obviously I'd wore the same clothes for probably 6-7 months or something. Do you know what I mean? And pissed them and dried all the way through it. But ended up taking back to mine, getting them all partying, getting boozed, doing whatever. Needless to say, woke up the next morning. I walked in. I was like, what the fuck? You just seen them all lying about everywhere. And they fucking pissed about couches and everything. I was like, no, it seems like crazy. I was like, no, get me fuck it. And I swore then I'm never going to touch ecstasy again because it took it just from that point. I did come off it. I was 28. I came off it. I was 28 and ended up, because I'd been on it so long, my immune system totally started shutting down. And I ended up with a really bad flu virus. Do you know what I mean? But you don't realise. People go, oh, I'm loaded with the flu. No, you don't know. You're loaded with the flu when somebody has to pick you up and take you to the toilet, or somebody has to help you upstairs to walk upstairs. That's when you know you get flu. Yeah. And this went on for about 10 months to end up as diagnosed with ME, post-viral chronic fatigue syndrome. And then I was struggling to get out to work all the time, and it was crazy. I just wanted to sleep 24/7. And ended up, I started getting a wee bit more back in life, and I went doing a sort of holistic approach at 28, and then I got introduced to cocaine.
Oh fuck!
And it was the fucking worst. You know what I mean?
The devil.
But it went from no touching all these drugs and then getting into cocaine. It was taking like a gram, and a gram would last you all night. Do you know what I mean? It was there, and it was like wee lines, and you go to buzz, and it was great. To like once a week, and then it was like you're buying 2 gram, 3 gram, 4 gram. But see, by the time I was in the height of that taking over my life, I was doing grands a week. It was crazy times.
That is the biggest seller
It's a
for
fuck,
money.
It was nuts. It was absolutely crazy.
Stuff, man.
But at that point, also, that's been big into the whole spiritual thing as well. Because I was like 28, 29, getting into that. I was out with my pal one day. She's like, oh man, he's just qualified as a medium. I was like, how the fuck can you qualify as a medium? Do you know what I mean? You're born with this gift and it's there. She's like, no, she goes to this medium school thing down in London. I was like, oh, right, whatever. But it's called Arthur Findlay College. And this thing is big like Hogwarts.
Big Harry
you
Potter.
walk in, it's like it. It's there, the grounds, it's great. It's an amazing place to be, to sort of find yourself and understand who you are.
Yeah.
So I started going to it, but obviously before that, because we went in and she was giving me this reading. And I remember, she watched this, she'll call me a prick or something. This is her obviously qualified as a medium. And she's looking down at her fire. And she's like, oh, can you take the black rose? And it was like big black flower thing sitting there. I think is that the one just next to your fire. I was cold tipping it. Is that the one sitting there? I said, like that. And I was like, she goes like, yeah, I can see people sitting outside a cafe. And there's a picture, like a drawing arty thing, with people sitting outside a cafe. Like,
Are you looking at
yeah, I'm watching her watching everything in her house. And I'm like, she's just fucking picking up things in her house and saying, and I'm like, why is this how this works? And I was like, you talking about the picture?
I can see a camera.
So I ended up going like that. I says, you know what? I says, I can see a wee man. I started fucking doing it. But it turns out it was really to her. She started greeting.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like, but the fact that everything I was thinking I was making up at that point was real. But now I was at my nut and I was like, I'm fucking tripping. I'm totally tripping here. But she took me to a place called the Thistle Centre on a Monday night in Glasgow. And it was a spiritual development church type thing. And I went and I was like dead shy, do you know what I mean? So obviously because I was at the peak of the cocaine at that point. I used to go with my peak of the cocaine, it was bad. I used to have like my brown leather jacket on, my scarf, my wee beanie and all that, and I went every year. I wouldn't talk to anybody every Monday. But only on a Monday, I would never take cocaine. I went there and I would meditate and I'd do whatever. I wouldn't talk to anybody. I enjoyed being in that whole energy.
And that bubble.
But then for the rest of the week, I just got out my nut. And this went on for about 6 months. And I remember walking in, and it was like this, but this was October time or something. This was now getting into the March. And I went in with my beanie off, my hair all done. At that point, my hair was all quite long. It was like highlighted, it was dark and everything. They walked in and they were like, "Oh, you here to join the group?" I was like, "I've been coming for the last 6 months." I was there.
Oh, you've had a wash?
Kate Lawrence, she was my mentor. She was the one that taught me everything. She just passed away recently, so we had to go to England for her funeral. She was like wee Auntie Kate, do you know what I mean? So I started meeting new people through this whole sort of movement thing. So, but I was still conflicted of having the pubs, and I had the Atlantis and Clydebank, and I also had try to be spiritual and try to be a cokehead at the same time. I was like, fucking nuts. I was like, something's not going here, do you know what I mean? But ended up going back to the psych, is it the Thistle Centre every month. I think it was at that point, I think I stood up and gave my first message on a platform in front of everybody. I went to this room and I was like, I remember the things so clearly, which most times I don't really remember. But I tell people because I feel if I do shows or anything, my head's away, I'm like a completely different person where I'm obviously off-wide, do you know what I mean? So it ended up, I gave this message, and I remember the wee it was a wee lassie came through, and her name was Carla it was, and she'd owned this wee sort of red velvet dress, long hair, and she kept saying to this one, mum. She was like, "I've got my hair," and I was like, and I started seeing everybody starting to greet because they obviously knew who this person was. I didn't know who it was, and I was sitting there and I was like, "This is getting really crazy." And then she goes, "She says she's okay." I goes, "She doesn't have her jaggy ring," and that just had everybody bawling. Do you mean because it meant something? And that was it. That was the evidence. And the woman goes, "She goes, just before she died with leukemia, she lost all her hair. Now she was only 6 years of age, and she got took down to the Luss in Loch Lomond." And they bought her this wee thistle ring, and she used to call it a jaggy ring. She goes, "I don't have a jaggy ring." And that was her evidence. That was they knew she was there. It was there. And I mean, I'm actually goosebumps actually telling it because I can see it clear. I can see her clearly in my head. And that time that they were all sort of greeting, but then they all sort of seen something in me that it then started becoming a wee bit of demand. They wanted more. They wanted more. And at that point, I think I started realising, well, I'm like 30, so whatever. I'm nearly 30, whatever. Because I was starting to go back to where I was as a child and starting to bring it all back, I was starting to relook at my life a wee bit and sort of reevaluate it. And at first, only ones that I ever connected with was kids. It was like I had that sort of childlike energy, like a fear. And it was all these kids all coming through, do you know what I mean? And they were clear as anything. So I just would see all these kids all coming in and talking to me, and they were like, "What the fuck?" Do you know what I mean? And it became more of a demand for me to go and do and give people that, because everybody knew they were going to talk to the Rains or whatever. So
was that hard for you though? Like knowing that it was, because obviously as people you're trying to give these people speak to their children, and it must be hard for you.
At that point, I think because I was on a wee bit in a roller coaster, emotional roller coaster at that point. I mean, I think seeing kids, I think it gave me an understanding of how my childhood was, because a lot of my childhood I felt was lost because it was all just
environment,
the environment we're in and things that happened. There's so many stories I can tell you about. You're like, "What the fuck?" Do you remember? It was like crazy. But at that point, I started realising the whole spiritual thing is I had it all since I was a kid. Because it all started showing up. I was like, "Oh my God, that makes so much sense." Oh my God, I remember seeing that. Do you know what I mean? But I always remember, even at the age of 13, my mum and dad were obviously, there was a point of where we're going back in time, but where I was at 13, I came home from school one Friday, and my dad was the most bullying, abusive bastard ever, alcoholic, just constantly. And he was, he had my mother, and he was banging her head off in the bathroom, and I jumped in. I used to take tankers off him all the time. He fucking hated me. I got jailed once. I always remember the time, but obviously there was a time before that, but the time when he was barking hell at my mother, I dragged him with the hair out the hole, and I was like, the height of nothing. And I started kicking fuck out him. It was the first time I ever stood up to him. I opened up the door, and I flung him down the stairs of Whitehall Crescent. I said, "Don't ever come back here." I never seen him again at that point until I was like 33, so it's like 20 years later. But he was lying in the box. Do you mean indeed? And I was like, "Do you know what? I forgive you. I just forgive you." And it was there. There was a lot at that point, but I think because I'm doing it at that point of doing the whole spiritual thing, I was still going through that whole process to try to find me, try to capture who I was and what my
Bit of
purpose was.
recovery as well, you know what I mean? That's a lot of
I was recovering, I was still fucking taking it. It's really crazy.
Aye.
Because obviously the Thistle Centre had the church service on a Wednesday night and had it on a Sunday night. And they'll ask me, says, would you like to take the church service Sunday night? I was like, no, I'm not ready to stand up there for a full hour and an hour and a half or whatever and do all that. No, like, no, it's there. And I was like shitting myself. But the Saturday night, I stayed up all night just snorting cocaine. I couldn't get to sleep on the Sunday morning. But then I had this church today.
Church service.
And I'm like, what the fuck? So I ended up, I used to drive about in a wee convertible Mazda and all that. I think that was like cool, dude. Turns up at this church, 6:30. I was like, what the fuck? Pure shame. I hadn't slept all night. You're rattling mad. Opened up my glove compartment, took 3 lines of cocaine and went in and gave them the best fucking church service ever.
And the church.
It was nuts. It was like fucking crazy. And I'm like,
And the church.
but they were all wanting, where did that come from? I was like, fuck no.
Oh, man, aye. That's
Fucking-
my dealer.
That's my pal Charlie. I ended up, it was so funny. It was so funny. But they didn't know that. And obviously, I've spoken about it now later on.
Aye.
Obviously, Kate, I guess I says to Kate, I even say to wee Maria and who William, who are like, they've been my friends since then. Do you know what I mean? They're older than that. I call them Mo and Dan and all that. Do you know what I mean? So I've got like 5 different Mo's and probably my birth Mo and all. Everybody just adopted me as I grew up at that point.
But as I say, you've got that energy. People
It
just.
was amazing, do you know what I mean? And ended up, I was open enough at that point where I was trying to find myself and I was doing it. But obviously the relationship I was with for 14 years was toxic. It was toxic. It was ending. It was there. And obviously somebody was being unfaithful to me. So I really can't say too much about him. That's his story. It's his story to tell. But my story, do you mean? My story, I don't want to tell much about him, do you mean? But I could blame somebody for taking me down that path of drugs and doing whatever. The only person I can blame is me because it was me. It was responsible at that point. It was a choice I made because I allowed it to happen. But I get roped into this whole gay world and this everything thing. It was out there, and it is exactly what people say. Do you mean? It's fucking nuts. It's crazy. It's like it's scary. And it's like, do you mean it's party night 7 nights a week?
Well,
And
that's
they're still doing it now.
It's
like an addiction.
like
It's a
people
buzz.
and they're not quite as bad as that, but it does seem to be it's either go mental or go home type thing, like just partying all the time. And
I didn't know how to go home. I didn't know. Do you know what I mean?
that's what the problem is, isn't it?
But even at this point, see, obviously, when I had, even before I had the Sandford bar, do you know what I mean? I ended up coming from Irvine, doing the nightclubs, to doing Whiskey Joe's in Clydebank.
Whiskey Joe.
And back there, it was the best pub ever. Do you know what I mean? People came from all over to get in there. And we're doing Eckies in there and then going to the bully on a Thursday night. I was thinking, hey, the Monday morning. So I used to phone the boyfriend and the Monday morning, go, any chance come pick me up? Do you know what I mean? Before he made his work. It was that nuts. It was crazy. Just constant time. But then I was in there as a manager as well, and it was nuts. It was just an amazing. I don't regret it. Do you know what I mean? I don't regret any of it. Do you know what I mean? Because when obviously that relationship came to an end, I was in mid-30s. Do you know what I mean? So I had to make a choice of getting off of drugs, getting away from him, but also getting away from the pubs. Do you know what I mean? So I had to know where I was. The relationship was coming to an end, and at that point, I was so depressed because even though I knew in my heart and heart it was like toxic, it was bad, it was whatever, I didn't want it to end because I was totally I was obsessed. I was in love with the guy, like, totally in love, but it was like a kind of negative, toxic love. That I ended up, I tried to take my own life. I remember getting in my car. At that night, I remember popping probably about 120 called Proximal. These things will fucking kill you. That was after taking about 8 grams of cocaine. Do you know what I mean? A couple of Eckies and fucking mere sleeping tablets, valleys, everything. And I got in my car and drove my car up Hawkhead Road. Best time I was staying in Seat Hill. And I ended up, is it Jenny's Well or something that's doing that way? I took the car onto this fucking embankments there. My brother-in-law found me, got me to the hospital, and I remember that point. I was totally out of it, but I remember my family not up there. He wasn't there. He was doing south working, apparently. But ended up that I could hear everything was going on. What they were doing was all wailing and greeting and all that. And I'm thinking, like, you're a fucking two-faced bastard. And I remember the doctors. I could hear it go, listen, we don't know if he's going to come through. We'll just try and make him comfortable and keep him comfortable and all that. And they were pumping all this, I think it was like charcoal and all that through my blood, trying to cleanse my blood, trying to cleanse my system. But nothing was happening. They're like, no, it's really bad. Because I didn't realise at that point I was probably in. My body was quite failing. And if I look back at, I see pictures myself back then, and because I went for like sunbeds and all that, you couldn't really tell you were jaundiced. It was that bad. Your kidneys, your livers, everything was totally failing. Because I was doing so much. I was like fucking quarters every night. I mean, 7-8 grams a night and all that. Myself sometimes, I mean, it was like not psychosis had kicked in, but then psychosis and spiritualism, two of them are fucking quite the same. I'm seeing people. It's all right. It's a man. I ended up. I had. At that point, I woke up in the hospital in the morning, and the doctor says to me, "You shouldn't be here." I was like, "I no any chance to get my clothes back home." They're like, "No, you shouldn't be here." But at that point, my body was apparently shutting down. But then they took my bloods. They came back in probably a couple of hours later. They're like, "We don't really get this because your kidneys were really bad. Everything was really bad, and all these levels were up and down the spiking or whatever." And he says, "But the only thing is, you need to get off the alcohol. Your liver count's so high." And I was like, "I don't drink." Yeah, you don't drink? I says, "I don't drink alcohol. I never drank alcohol. I wasn't a drinker. It was just drugs." And it ended up. I was like, he's like, "We're going to keep you in for a couple of days." I says, "No, I'm going home." I did. I went home that day. I packed up my stuff, put it in black bags. I walked away from him. I walked away from my businesses, and I basically walked away from everybody.
Just
Like,
fucking.
£26
Start
in my
again,
pocket.
basically.
I'd left everything. I mean, I just bought him a brand new, I think it was like 52-inch fucking plasma telly. I just came out or something.
Do you think you just woke? I think you woke up as a different.
Something woke up there. But see, at that point, I've been there. I never touched the drugs from that day.
Fucking.
On it. To me, obviously, I've trapped back into it, and as things have happened through the years. But at that point, where I went away, and I
Do you think it was the thought of losing your life did that, or do you think just it was something?
I believe a higher
Power.
power basically done something at that point. I think there was a wee bit of intervention, because it was then that I think it was then I sort of realised something had to change. Do you know what I mean? It was me.
Yeah.
And I did. I walked away from everything. And it was nae looking back. It was like nae.
It was
Yeah,
just
I couldn't
fucking
get it. It was like
bags
forward.
packed,
it's so refreshing. Do you know what I mean?
aye.
And for somebody who would do probably $2,000 a week, $2.5 a week snorting cocaine, I never had come down. I never had anything from that. I mean, I came away with it. Do you know what I mean? It was nothing there. And I went to work in a pub. My part of a friend that obviously knew was Michael Bergson, who used to manage all the clubs as well in Glasgow. He opened up a place called Soho, and I went to work for him in Miller Street. So I was working in there. And it was nice just getting into that sort of thing. It was no drugs, there was no nothing. It was just being a member of staff, no responsibility, no pubs, just getting a wage at the end of the week and just having a wee bit of life. And from doing that, also, I went to work in social care, and went to work with young adults with disabilities, which I would never have the mind to do that beforehand, because I wouldn't look at somebody with a disability and just recognise. I'd always recognise them being different. And I think I was always drawn into that path to do it at that point, that I worked with these young adults with disabilities, and it was the best thing I've ever done. It gave me a whole completely different understanding of life, and they became part of my family. They became my new family. Do you know what I mean? My friends and that as well. And I loved it. Do you know what I mean? I had a wee guy, wee Shawnee boy, he's the pal. I still obviously speak. I'm not seeing him for a wee while just now, obviously because of the illness that happened this year, and because of COVID and all that as well. It was a fascinating. He's in his bed, and again, there's no talking about him, like his life. But I ended up, I was like, do you know what, we used to take him out to campus and in a chair and take him out to campus and all that. And then I took him and his wee pals to Seventh Heaven. Strippers and all that.
Never
I
been there
loved it.
before.
Fucking loved it. Absolutely loved it. Do you mean it was great? So it was fun.
Okay, as I say, you just woke up as a new Tom Elliott,
that's
isn't it?
it.
Really?
It's the
That's
best.
business Tom Elliott. This is another story because of Tom Elliott. And I think we need to be here for fucking 10
I was
Aye,
going
aye,
to say, I haven't
aye.
even got my phone on me. Crick, you'll have to chat and go, right, time's coming up, guys.
You can edit it. There's enough to edit. I ended up. Tom Elliott became a figure.
Sorry,
It
your
became.
fucking bell end.
I was
I'm
always
is it?
through my life. My name was Thomas. Everybody called me Thomas,
Aye.
and I always kept saying, "Don't ever short my name. Don't call me Tommy. Don't call me Tam. Don't call me nothing. I'm Thomas." And that was always very it. And then it was in the sort of the spiritual thing started coming in, and I think that's when it started changing, because there was one person, a friend of mine, Max Tierney, who's also a medium. She started calling me Tom. And I was like, I didn't even want to connect. I was like, I couldn't go at that point. But so before you know it, everybody says Tom Elliott. So Tom Elliott became a character.
It's like I'm going to say it does. Tom Elliott. It does
Tom
sound-
Elliott became a character. I
Feels
was
like I'm
never.
used to
I was
presenting
never.
on The
I was never.
Simpsons or
If
something.
you look at my business cards, it was always Thomas Elliott. Thomas Elliott. And now everyone's Tom Elliott. But see, I think from that point of where been in the whole spiritual path for all these years, of where how I spoke about, obviously with COVID hitting and things changing, it changed me as a person, because Tom Elliott was no longer a character. I was stuck in the house.
You're stuck in them.
But then I started trying to realise who the fuck was Thomas Elliott? Who was Thomas? I was Thomas. I mean, and that's where I'm totally confused in life just now. I don't understand the character of Tom Elliott is a guy who goes to a wedding and is funny as fuck up there. Do you mean?
Yeah.
Or the guy goes to a funeral. I need to talk about. I could talk about funerals not as well.
Oh, you do funerals?
Aye.
Fuck,
I only
I
see,
don't
see
know
when I
funerals.
first see when I started first day in funerals. There was something about the fact that only people I ever got was either drug addicts, junkies, alcoholics, murderers, gangsters, lifers. That's all I ever got. Do you mean it was like this pure? Talking about like the pure Ned still in there. Do you mean so? It was like for some strange reason I never really get any sort of posh funerals. Do you mean so? There was nothing there. So getting to go and just speak to these families and write these big life stories of people. Do you know what I mean? And it's all pure Glasgow fucking life. And I can do that in that whole 20 minutes to bring somebody's life into it. Do you know what I mean? But make it so funny, even though it was darker. Do you know what I mean? I'm talking about doing funerals for people who've been inside and done life for murder or bank robbers and fucking done whatever. And there's one that always sticks in my mind. I'll tell you, I've done a book on that as well because I've collated quite a lot of the Glasgow stories, and I've called it a right good send off. Which I'll publish it at some point. I've got permission for all the ones that did publish it. The ones that really, it's a pure Glasgow life. It's like I'm getting mad with it and doing whatever. It was all this. But there was a guy known as Ernie Barry who came for the Gorbals. You can Google him. He's on that, whatever. And his daughter had contacted me to do this funeral. And I went out to see them in the Gorbals. And Jimmy, I was like, okay, I'd be a bit edgy. And I started hearing the stories of it. And it ended up him and his wife at the time, his girlfriend, wife, whatever, they were known as the Bonnie and Clyde. They used to rob banks and all that fucking nuts. And this was like 80s, 90s. They were
When there was
doing
money in the banks, you don't get money in
I
banks.
used to just fucking walk out of the couldn't take it. Do you know what I mean? So it was it. So I'm hearing all these stories, and then it ends up, truth be told, about it is the thing back in the 80s was the Peterhead riots. It was the thing, you can see it on YouTube and all that. And there was a wee guy with a blue balaclava on up on the roof with one of the prison officers with a fucking knife pointed at him. Do you know what I mean? And it turns out it was Ernie Barry. So I'm trying to tell this story about how, by the way, he was the man, it was the Peterhead riots and all that. Do you know what I mean? So try to do it in a sort of funny way. And I'm looking out there, do you know what I mean? There's Blink McDonald and all that sitting in this crowd. I was like, oh, these people. I better need to watch what I'm going to say. I'm going to get done in here.
That's it, you've got to watch it.
So I was sitting there and I was like, so how can I talk about his time? Because he was obviously a lot of time in Peterhead, working for Her Majesty the Queen. I ended up fucking. I says, well, rumour has it. I says the guy in the YouTube videos. I says, not in the news back in the 80s. I says, was our Ernie. I says up in the roof of the Peterhead riots. I says with the blue balaclava on, with the knife stuck to the prison officer's neck. I goes like that. I says, I didn't have any concern. I says for the life of that prison officer. I says, I felt more sorry for the wee guy who was sitting in the cell, whose mom spent 4 months knitting that fucking jumper and was only one sleeve. And they were like, we're fucking pissing ourselves laughing, do you mean? But that one, I got a stand ovation at that fucking funeral, do you mean? And then the next day, the wee last bit, oh, Tom Elliott, oh, he's some cunt, man. I was like, I phoned my sister, I was like, she's just called me a cunt. She was like, no, it means you're a good cunt. That's fucking, that's nuts. But even through that, obviously being a minister, nothing's really changed within my life because I'm still me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
How long have you been a minister for now? It's bad to say that after the stories we've just heard.
I know, it gets like
cocaine, ecstasy.
You married both of us.
No,
so.
I became a minister probably about 14, 15 years ago.
As long goes that,
I didn't know what to do it. It's not what I want to do. Because I went to a funeral once and I sat there and it was just boring as fuck. It was so bad. But this time I'm alive, do you know what I mean? And I started to realise because we're doing the spiritual thing, we shouldn't be there fucking mourning death. We should be celebrating life.
I was just at a funeral not that long ago, and the guy, I wish I remember his name, but he made it was such an emotional day because he's bringing all these highs, talking about all these stories about things he'd done, all the good things, and then brought the wee bit down at the end, but then finished it off with a nice. And I said that I was like, I didn't feel bad because a lot of stuff was funny. You know what I mean?
Said that, so I'm like, I'll always because I'm quite quick with comebacks all the time. Do you know what I mean? So even when I'm writing things,
I felt like there was a celebration there.
But that's what it should be. I think obviously because I was in that spiritual path, and I was like, do you mean it should never? We're not here to mourn death because death is eternal. I believe in the soul. I believe in everlasting life and things. But
you believe in reincarnation?
Yeah, I do. What do you call it? Regressional therapy. I'm a regressional therapist. I was one of the biggest ones, and I was the only one that really done it. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't. I used to have a deal on Groupon years ago when I opened up a soul sanctuary, and it was like mob sold thousands upon thousands of them. But I just spent my life doing it, and I love investigating into the whole sort of thing about souls and soul return and things like that. And you can tell. I mean, even if I took you over a period of 2-3 years, and we've done the sessions like 3-4 times, you'll be 3-4 different people. But your life's not going to overlap. You'll never remember anything. You don't remember because I'm hypnotised you based on you're in hypnosis.
Can I
But
drag it
you're talking to me all the way through it, but you're in that hang back and get into that hang within your mind, and I can see that whole story unfolding or whatever. And it's like nuts, it's like crazy.
I've always said I've never been one for years. I've never been. This changed me. This thing that happened to me, and you probably think that it's to do with my family dog. I don't know if dogs. I think the same.
No, they come through. It's
So,
energy.
I've never believed in it. Never believed in nothing really. I've always been kind of that typical guy. Just fuck all that shit. So I had a family pet, Dex. Had him since I was probably about 8 or 9 years old, and he was 17 when he passed. And see when he passed away, that killed me, man. Even today, I remember like when we moved into our first flat, I get a wee plaque from my mum and dad, just we saying on a picture on. She opened it up. I was greeting for hours. So anyway, I was working in the doors in Bar Street, and I had my back to the road, and the guy that I was working with had his face out to the road, and he went, "A dog here there." And at this point, Dex had probably passed away about a year, and he's like, "That dog's just staring over here," and I'm looking around, it was like a wee Westie, wee Yorkshire Terrier thing, and I'm like, "Fucking sees a rat or something." So he walked across the road, the guy in the lead, and the dog was looking at me, and he was trying to go down towards Sucky Hall Street. But the dog just kept fucking wanting to come over. And I'm going, what the fuck's that dog doing? So eventually the guy's like, what the fuck's going on? And he walked, he let the dog go, right where you want to go. He came down, and the dog, I like dogs, so I kind of went down on my kind of knees to kind of say hi. And it jumped up 2 feet there, and it just fucking stared right through me. And I was like, I've just felt Dex. I just felt Dex. I just seen it through his the way he looked at me, and had a wee clap, blah, 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 walked away. And see, since that moment, I've been like, my mind was blown, because I'm like, I felt him. You know what I mean? The dog could have been any dog, but it was, I don't know, it's hard for me to explain, but.
It's not, I think it's dogs are very much your family. They're there. I've got Charlie, Jimmy's a wee pug, and he's a reincarnation of a fucking whippet, I think. But I ended up, before that, I used to have like Springer Spaniels. Which were ex-sniffer dogs. Do you mean? So
sake,
when they retired, they came and stayed with us.
I must have been fucking knackered running about your flat.
I know.
That's me. I'm going to reveal something about the person I used to be with. So obviously Ben and Cleo, they came and stayed with us. But I remember the first time when I brought Ben home, and he was jumping all over the place. The fucking dog was going mad. I mean, there's a bag of cocaine on my pocket. It was like crazy. That dog really likes you. I was like, I don't know. And if he was away, I used to take the dogs out to my pals and play bank to him. She'd be like, I can't find that gear. No, I bring a dog in, I take the dog in, and the dog would sniff out and bother.
Amazing, man. Your pal must have loved you then.
Yeah, Johnny never liked sniffer dogs, don't you know, Johnny?
Nah, I don't like sniffer dogs.
I made the two, but we had them when they were 17. And it's heartbreaking. I remember obviously when Ben obviously he died and got cremated and had the things, and I think it was September 11th, the year of September 11th. We were going to Florida in the November, the end of October, because we were there for the Halloween thing, and the ex is like, we get halfway down to Carlisle because we're leaving for Manchester, and he's like, oh my God, I've got to pick up Ben's ashes, and I was like, but I was like, we're not going back for them. I says, we just need to get back to Florida next year or something, because we wanted to scrap them in Epcot. Imagine we fucking started scrapping them in Epcot. They were all getting, everybody was going to die for that anthrax all the time. We'd have been fucking done. We'd have been fucking in there with Saddam Hussein. Osama bin Laden on.
Aye.
Just imagine.
We've got our 3 dogs cremated. My dad wants to be with Dex when he gets cremated. We mix with salt and pepper and chuck them out.
Salt and pepper, aye.
Nice. Glen F's to get chucked, but I couldn't have a dog now.
No.
I don't think I could. I don't think I could go through that again.
I don't know. I wasn't really want a dog, but the ex just won another toxic fuck. I think it might be me. It might be.
I was going to say, is it me? Am I the problem?
Is it me? Am I?
Because we're saying this, like, we always go on about it. If like we could take a pill to turn gay, we probably would.
We both say that.
That's me a fucking hassle. See if I get a pill to go straight again, I would.
But you're dealing with fucking crazy women.
We turned around and went, for 2 hours we're gay again. How great would the life would be? You clean, I cook. We do paint. We go to the gym all the time.
I can
perfect
fix
life.
Can
fix my motor. It's perfect. And then we're like, look at our wives and go,
fuck's sake.
Fucking tits in a fanny. That's what I'm attracted to. I fucking don't like it.
I think, no, if I could, I always say, I missed it in life, I think, because I've always wanted to be a dad. And I've had that opportunity. I mean, I hate it. But there's other stories that I can tell you about what I've done. I was going through the whole posting process. But the last person who I was with, again, a nerd talks thing. But I did come out of that relationship quite hard back, obviously, because I've not been with anybody since, and it was like at the week of lockdown, we went into lockdown. That relationship ended through a court situation thing, and I think it's from then I just sort of lost who I was in regards to the Tom Elliott, all that sort of thinking back up, and it's been crazy. But before that, he kept saying he wanted a French, and I was like, I'm not paying £2.5 for a fucking dog.
I know, dogs are
way,
fucking
mad.
mental.
I says, we'll go to Cardano Cat Dog, come and get one. I'm not doing stupid ugly dog.
An ugly dog. Dirty bastard.
So obviously the pal of mine goes, do you want to take this pug? And I was like, no. And I ended up like, okay. And I took it as a surprise for him, and it was like for us. But then, do you mean just as obviously never bothers us? Do you mean he was totally so just a novelty for that point. Do you mean, take a walk twice and that's it. But now I've got this dog, and my life is that fucking dog. Do you mean? So
just a day type of dogs.
It's like he needs so much attention. He's there. And obviously at the start of the year, I took the heart attack. Do you mean? Well, I've started taking one last October, and I ended up having a heart attack every day for 2.5 months. I didn't realise I was doing it. But Charlie went away at that point. He went to stay with my sister, so I only just going back probably about a month and a half ago or something.
Charlie.
I know. What you?
Actually, was
That's contradicting there, man.
There's a story. There's a story behind
the dog of the Charlie.
There's a story behind that. Anyway, but ended up I got him back, but then because I didn't even obviously for 2.5 months I was taking that heart attack every month. I just kept every day. I just kept ignoring it. I think it was just heartburn. It was there, and then obviously when the big one came in January, do you know what I mean? It's like my troponin levels had spiked, and it was like my heart was fucked.
I know. See, when you found out you had a heart attack, like I was like, oh fuck, I hope he's okay. And then Catherine's like, hope we can still do the wedding. I'm like,
I know.
That's right, because your wedding was only weeks ago. It was not bad,
I
right?
was hanging, and I was like, like, it'd be fine, right? If you
Calm the
can't
fuck
do it,
down.
it'll be alright. But no, like I can't do it if Tom's not doing it. Who are we going to get? Who do we know? And I'm like, it'd be fine. We can even Zoom call him if it needs to be.
It's nuts.
It's weird because
I think it's only been a couple I've had to sort of change over and put somebody else in it. Do you mean? But that breaks my heart to do that because I hate letting anybody do it.
Because
It gets to the point
as
that
I
it's
say,
just
like
over.
obviously you were at Johnny's, done Johnny and Louise's, and then done Carl and Brian's. I don't think we could have done it without you.
It's nuts, I think it's see how popular it is.
It's just what was just not so much. It's just you. It's like I feel that you just. I don't know, Matt. I don't know what it is. Again, it could be grooming.
Like,
I don't know, but I just feel.
Listen, don't say that.
I know.
Cunts of code.
No, but
it was a major part of the wedding because we're going right. You've been round about. I've not been round about you that much. No,
it's just no. See, but the first time you've seen Karen, and you've seen something, then obviously I met with you a couple of times after that, and you're like, there is that. You get a connection. I get a connection with couples. That's how I know I can. Draw it out.
I do what you fuck. I do fuck you want.
Because Louise, I still remember as newer the line, God's honest truth. Louise did want you straight away because obviously we went to Lyndhurst and had all the different people there and all that. Because we went to a few places and Lyndhurst I was unwell at the time. I looked like Jake Bull. Nobody was interested in booking my wedding. I went to Lyndhurst. They were nice to me. And it was like recommended you, and then our aunties recommended you, and everybody. And we seen you, and it was that straight away. As soon as we seen you, we went, no.
Because I was all for it. Because I heard about you prior. Because I think my mum, after my grandpa passed away, my mum and that went to you, and I always remember it because it was my first time hearing about anything like that. I think I don't know what age I was, but anyway, so because they used to always go on about a dog because you'd mentioned a dog, and everybody thought it was they had a dog when they moved from Ireland to here. But it wasn't their dog. It was a dog that my grandpa had prior moving that nobody knew about other than my granny. And then my guy went, no, it's Benji or something. I don't know. And ever since then, like my whole family's been like, boom, addicted to it. I mean, like it's
crazy. Dogs come through. Animals fucking. Do you mean it's like? And I obviously I knew because see if I'm describing somebody's dog and I'll give them a name and do whatever. And she's like, oh, what's the saying? I'm like, fucking woof woof. It's like fucking stupid. You can tell me any more.
It's about all your getting.
The dog's here, Jimmy. It's not going to sound.
It's just done a shape pick up.
The dog tells you how it's died and how it's happened and all that. Jimmy, tell you things is there. It's like crazy.
Wild.
So you're in that whole mindset. You're connected to that energy. It's like a consciousness. They take you on that journey, but they take you on their life journey. So I can be standing talking to somebody and I could be in their house, going through their drawers and telling them exactly what's in the drawer. It's like, I mean, you're in that energy, in that path. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, speaking about weddings though, have you had any weddings where it's no went through?
No.
Any?
I've had one. I had one that sort of lasted 29 days, I think. I've not had one that never went through. Just the one the other day there, obviously Friday, Chris and Naomi.
Forget
Another
the
fucking memory, man.
rings.
Forgetting the rings. I mean, I never tell. I've done all their family because I've done Jamie. I don't know if you know Jamie and Lindsay.
Yeah.
Jamie and
yeah,
Lindsay,
aye.
and I've done Amanda and Billy's, her mum and dad's. I've done theirs as well. But see, when you obviously you always know something's going to go wrong. With Amanda and Billy's, do you know what I mean, it's like it's in the Ramshire Town Hall. In the town hall, and she had like 16 bridesmaids, and he had like 16 best men or whatever it was. So they're all lined up out in these back stairs. Do you know what I mean? They all came in one at a time. So they all starts coming in one at a time, and in this fucking Ramshire Town Hall. And just as she gets walking down the aisle, the fire alarm goes off, and they started burning the dinner. Started burning the dinner in the kitchen. So he didn't get to see her. He had to get whipped to the front door. She get whipped back to the back. So we're outside stunned for about 2 hours. The fucking fire brigade and all that came. Then the middle of this wedding. So that was there. I got nothing. I don't think anything happened with Jamie and Lindsay's, but they were down in Ayrshire somewhere. But then Naomi and Chris, just as Naomi comes walking up the stairs at the Coates Memorial Church the other day, she was like, "Where's the wee?" They had like a security case for the wee man. A security case. Like, no, it's in the house. The wee boys, it's in the house. The fuck? She said, "Where's the rings?" I says, "The best man, I see, you don't get a wee package." She says, "Aye, but there's no rings in it." I ran down the toilet and took put the toilet basket things. You know what I mean, so I went and stole a couple of fucking packets of Haribo's and took the rings out of it. Yeah, I gave one to the best man, but ended up eating it. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I do.
So I end up, we gets up there and we managed to tap 2 rings. The tap 2 rings off.
I think the Haribo rings would have been
That'd have been funnier,
and
right?
that'd have been good for the
On the
pictures
camera and that
all
as well, just doing it.
So, well, that wedding's no last.
that.
Ended up just you're having to try and find humour in that point as well.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Aye,
Because
aye,
it's
Traumatic,
they went through it. It's traumatic. Having no rings, because that's the thing you want to put in your finger, and it's committing yourself to that person. It's a symbol.
I used to wear his, no man, aye.
Where's yours?
Well, mine's is a titanium, and then I was fatter then, and I lost weight, and it doesn't fit me anymore. I can't
I've
resize
got a
it.
wee rubber
That's
ring.
my
mate.
excuse
Use a
anyway.
cock ring or something.
Aye.
End up, I was just sitting there and was like, then I was like, "Can I ask the best boy for the rings, please?" And he comes in and puts them in my folder. I was like, "Now, Chris, please take the ring you did not choose for Naomi," and stick it in her forefinger or left hand. And Naomi, you take the ring you never chose for him. So that gets them all laughing, and our person's all laughing as well, Jimmy. So it's fun.
That's good. How you got on time?
But time-wise, we're way over, but it doesn't matter. So I've got 5. 5 quick. We'll say 5. It's probably more than that now. So quick questions for you. Are you ready?
Right.
Favourite position in bed?
Is there many
Fucking
positions?
What's that?
Like in a gay relationship, is there many
Aye,
positions?
we
Can you
do
do
the
them all?
exact
Exact same as
Can you?
fucking
Aye.
Missionary, no, it's the same.
can
I
I-
was going to say, what's the difference?
Just a wee bit more angle involved in it, though.
No, that's not really. You don't think that's just lifting your arse that wee bit more up. But no, it wouldn't be for me. It's not asking up anyway. That was that. I prefer the missionary position. I like being there snogging a person and loving it when I feel like it.
just getting that
When I'm on
connect
top, do you know what I mean?
Just fucking eyeball right in there.
It's alright, fuck it. Like we're getting it.
It's your
That's it.
fucking daddy.
That's
What
it.
would you rather?
Fucking dish.
What would you rather? Would you rather rent a house or buy a house?
Red.
Rent a house.
I don't believe I bought houses all the way through it, but I do believe we would never own anything.
Oh, no.
And why we're doing it, because if we're doing it to leave it to somebody else. I think, see, for parents,
I do this for my
this
kids.
is what I, you think, why are you doing it for kids? See, if you're good enough a parent, do you know what I mean? You'd teach them how to make their own fucking money and live themselves, take responsibility for
But I'm
that.
hoping to be old
That's
enough
one.
where they
We can
get
sell
their
it. Aye, we sell it, then me and him fuck off to bed
Listen,
together.
That doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. You end up with fucking dementia. Stick you in the home, take the house, and that fucking pays for the home.
Aye.
This is the whole thing I don't like, Jimmy. So, no renting. I think owning anything, having anything in your name is a fucking dangerous thing to have.
Aye.
Would you prefer morning or nighttime sex?
I'm going to sound like a pure boring bastard, Jimmy. I got in my bed at night and just probably doing it. But it's been that. I'm not going to say it's been that long. I can't tell you. I'm not going to say when the last time it was. Then somebody would know who I was with. But no, it's been a while. So I think I just like going to bed. And I think it's all about being
But
right point as well.
See, I'm nighttime as well.
I'm more. I can wake up in the morning, have sex. I feel as if I need to go for a shower and bathroom at first. I hear that whole thing about sweating and all that.
through the night.
Do you know what I mean?
I
'Cause
don't really get it. I don't know what it is. It's just like, because at night time, see how you talk about like just going and chilling. Like, I'm there to just, I'm not putting in a shift. I mean, I'm like,
Craig's 2 minutes and he's done.
I'm
Got
not putting a
caffeine
shift
sitting
in.
going,
I mean,
it's fucking great.
Depends on the day and the weeks that you've had. Know what I mean? Because people that go on and go, oh, mate, just shag all the time. Going, well, you've not got a realistic lifestyle
Aye,
then.
that's it.
Because like, I'm probably your stereotypical person.
Well, I think I'm the same. Do you know what I mean? Even if everyone is there, it can't be. Although you're having sex all the time, it's fucking amazing just at the beginning because that honeymoon period's there.
Aye.
But you come and take, you're fucking lucky if you get it twice a month.
Aye,
Do you know what I
aye,
mean? But you don't even need it at that point. Do you know what I mean?
no,
I'd rather have a
that
wank. Do you know what I mean? So
Aye,
I'd rather
aye.
just go pull a heat off it 5 times a day. So
You're better off.
Listen,
That's why
baby,
it's here
Jesus.
early.
yeah, but it's not.
That's why it's here
I
early.
know.
It's like, I'd have you back in the car
What was
park.
that this morning? It's cool.
So your death row meal, starter, main, dessert.
But a bit of a
What
deep.
would
Aye,
you
what
do?
you
Aye.
Starters.
Cocaine.
No, Eke start.
Let's
No,
start.
the cocaine's the main. The
Yes,
Eke's
yeah.
the start.
But I like haggis balls for some
Oh,
sort.
nice.
Haggis and maybe whiskey sauce or something.
Oh, aye.
I like two mains because I love a fillet steak.
Mm-hmm.
But then I get to the point of it's like when you take a big cock. Do you mean you get to the point you're like, oh, I can't.
just get it
Meat's
done.
the same. Do you know what I mean? I get to that point where I realise it came from a cow and I can't chew it, can't get past my throat.
Aye.
But I love it. But the fact you've got a restaurant, you pay like 25 quid, 30 quid for a
Aye.
steak,
Aye.
and you only get halfway through.
Better
You're like,
fucking eat it.
bastard, do you know what I mean? 'Cause that came from a cow, and I'm like, oh, that came from an animal. I
Well,
just
I
can't
always think
swallow it.
that. See, when I go to places and I eat a burger and it's a fucking shit burger, I went, some poor bastards died
killed for that.
to make this shite burger. You know what I mean? Let's make something fucking good at it.
That's it. I think. See, I another thing I like is Balmoral chicken, but I like making my own. So I love
Aye.
butterfly my chicken, smacking it all down, getting my haggis, wrapping it up, scrolling it up, and then slicing it. And I've got my own wee sauce. I make it. I don't tell anybody what it is, but they'll love it. Absolutely love it.
Special sauce.
I love cooking. I love cooking. I'm actually in the process just now of making a cookbook for the college thing. I need to have it in by August. You know what I mean, so it's like 20 of my favourite dishes, and then I have to make them, photograph them, and then put the book together and collate it and get them in as
Fucking hell,
as
aye.
part of a task, and that's how I pass my course.
Dessert.
Fun.
Pudding.
Dessert.
Dessert, sticky toffee pudding.
Aye, fuck's
She's
sake,
happy
man.
with it.
I see you've just mentioned every a wedding. Fucking.
Aye.
Just
wedding.
perfect together, we are.
That's what it is.
I think, see, do you know, I really like, do you know what I've got a mad habit for just now? Is now you get that millionaire shortcake thing, you buy
Aye.
packs of 4 at a pound at the shop
Aye,
or
aye.
something. I'm buying that and then stick in the microwave for like 20 seconds and then put ice cream tap in.
Aye,
Never
I've seen
thought
Just
of
get
that.
through.
Aye,
It's amazing. I love it all the time. All the time. I'm eating that all the time. I'm
bit of
diabetic. I'm not even supposed to. The good thing is, obviously, see, since I had the heart attack and obviously I had the surgery, I'm on like 22 tablets a day now. Do you know what I mean? So that fucks up my head and all. Haven't remembered to take them. But also being diabetic, I'm on the maximum of metformin because I should have been type 1 on insulin. Do you know what I mean? But because I was late in life, I thought, we'll try and get it back down
Aye.
through metformin. It never happened. So they've now had to sideline and give me another tablet. So I take this one tablet every day. That my body doesn't maintain the sugar. It just pisses back out again.
All right, aye.
So I can eat.
You must be on something like because you're a fucking terrible pusher.
Aye, but not, but I can't. I lose a lot of weight through it. I can lose weight. You do lose weight through it, but the fact that my body doesn't sugar doesn't have sugar, so it all just comes out. I can drink fucking iron brew. I can eat fucking chocolate. I can eat everything. Even diabetic. I won't fucking rattle for 2 minutes. I'm fine and back down again. I've just pissed myself. So it's good.
If you give yourself one bit of advice for your younger self, what would you give yourself? Don't take coke.
No, I enjoyed that. No, I totally enjoyed that. I don't regret anything in the part of life. What I probably, because of what I know now, just happening now, is learning about the ADHD thing. Because now I recognise and realise I had it all my life.
Aye.
If it was probably sorted then, I'd be a multi-millionaire by now.
Aye.
See the fact that I've blown so much money and I gave so much money away and I've wasted so much different times and whatever. I'd be loaded. I'd be a multi-millionaire.
Aye. So.
But I think I just want to say, believe who I am, and if I recognise, then excuse me, get help.
Aye.
So,
Aye. 100%.
yeah.
Well, final question. Would you come back on again?
I'd love to. I've actually quite enjoyed it.
That's what I mean. It's people go bit
People
panic when
panic.
they all come in, and then you go, nah, it's fine. Say what you
You
want.
see the people now. Obviously, we're talking about the whole narcissist thing. Do you know what I mean, I always attract narcissists, but making it obviously lockdown was on the court case thing and all that. I was thinking, am I a narcissist? Am I a narcissist? I ended up paying obviously I only paid it once, but obviously I've been in therapy since then. And she's one of the biggest doctors on YouTube, Dr. Carmen Bryan. She's overcoming narcissist abuse, and I paid for her. And I'm like, I think I'm a narcissist. She goes, see if you're actually questioning a narcissist, you can't be there because they're totally naive and all totally there. But I went through that whole thing. Is it me? Is that am I the problem? Is it me? But then it turns out that I'm not. Do you know what I mean?
Not at all.
I just attract it because of who I am, and do you know what I mean? And I
Because
think people see it, but the energy is there, and that people come in and they see something in me that probably I don't see, but then they see the fact they can use me, and I allow that to happen. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously I'm fucking naive to it. Do you know what I mean? But I always feel I want to sort everybody. I want to
What you love.
I do. I love
everybody
love. Do you know what I mean?
does.
Who doesn't
And I'm
want
very,
to
I'm very
love?
faithful person. I'm very much about being that person that's loved.
Aye,
If
aye.
you're going to dip
Big
your
time.
somebody else, it's not there. Don't break my heart. So
Aye.
And that's it. I've no beating anybody else. I'm done.
Aye,
Fuck
no,
it.
fuck
I'm going to be a proper minister now.
Just committing to it.
Get into church. I've only took a few lines in here. No.
No, that's back to day.
Aye. Aye. So thank you very much for having us on.
Having us on.
Well,
I
thanks for coming on.
Thanks
Yes.
for
That's
coming on.
obviously I've been interviewing you.
I feel like it's been a
know.
nice therapy session.
Aye.
I'm just absolutely starting to grieve now. I was going to start. I was starting to get emotional through it.
I've done it a few times. It's great just to go out and talk and to get to learn
It's listen
different people.
because I think this is a wee bit more deeper for me being dipper. I could tell you more that obviously I
Aye.
can't do it because I kind of speak out about other people's lives. But it was my life. Do you know what I mean?
Aye,
And I
aye,
liked
that's,
it, man.
that's what I said I wanted. What to hear about?
That's
And
why
I
I
think
did
that's
say
it.
when
Your
you
life story.
commented straight away. Because we'd
Life
already
story.
spoke about you before you even commented. You commented and I wrote straight away. We're actually talking about you coming on straight away. You went, come on. And that was only last week and
Aye,
you're
we've been
here
talking
straight
about
away.
I think there's so much I could tell you. There's so much more.
I was plenty more.
And even where I
opportunities.
am now and what's happening, even halfway through, there's still things I could tell you like
Yeah.
childhood and that. I mean, it's nuts.
Aye, I'll definitely
crazy.
get you back on. 'cause
definitely
it's
back
Definitely,
on.
no, I'm definitely up for it.
Right, so remember, if you're wanting us to promote your business, just contact Let's Have It, and that's about it.
That's it.
That's it. Done.
Everyone smashed it.
That's smashed out. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Right.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.